with the exception of Bilodeau.
Well, this will be a different looking game tonight. Sacramento State wanted to get up and down, played faster, physical. This team, well coached, Presbyterian, going to be a little more methodical, run sets. UCLA is going to have to be patient on the defensive end.
Sky Clark getting right to the rack on the first possession of the game.
Well, just a simple handoff up top. Sky Clark, known for his three-point shooting, turned the corner, got all the way to the rim.
It's a guy they hope can continue to heat up as well, along with Dent.
UCLA is a team shooting 34%, not bad, but you just feel like with their personnel, that number is going to continue to go up. And like I just said, I think Donovan Dent's ready for a breakout game.
Sky Clark is in attack mode.
They obviously saw something on film. And look, the #1 line item on the scatter report for anybody that plays UCLA is Dent. So you put the ball in Sky Clark's hands, makes 2 plays right off the bat.
Previous Presbyterian possession, their leading scorer, Jonah Pierce, missed one inside. Now it's Pickett knocking Clark over, and he fires away.
Pierce, a good player, 15 and 10 coming in. They're going to go to him. Big test for Xavier Booker here tonight.
Of course, UCLA's leading scorer is Bilodeau, who is out with that injury. No timetable yet on him, as there's a little tangle up there, and a held ball.
Sky Clark just double high ball screen. Brandon Williams slips it. I like that Sky Clark kept it in that right hand. When you keep it in one hand, you get it up to the window faster. You put a second hand on it, takes longer. Beat the defender putting that ball up on the glass.
Clark's got 2 buckets. That time around, that jump ball, giving credit to Presbyterian for a turnover. Kristen Wilson works around the screen. It's into Pierce, turns around, tries the bank shot, misses it.
Like that, though. Xavier Booker switching out to the smaller player. Brandon Williams had to guard Pierce.
Donovan Dent draws the foul going baseline. Presbyterian head coach Quentin Farrell, he was a captain for the Presbyterian Blue Hose as a player and is in his 7th year leading the team.
They've had some success. Presbyterian was down. They've had some success the last couple of years. They're hoping that they continue that progress this year.
On to the postseason back-to-back years, the CBI. It's Clark getting hounded up top by the double team. Eric Daly Jr. is in for 3, and UCLA leads 7-0.
Well, I like Booker in that short roll area right at the free throw line. He's got good touch if he turned and faced and tried to score, but that time went opposite to Daly in the corner for the open 3.
Williams nearly stole it. Instead, Pierce gets 2 for Presbyterian.
You like UCLA's activity early. We talked about deflections the other night. 33 deflections in the first half for UCLA against Sacramento State. See if that activity holds up.
Clark tried the lob and turned into a pretty routine catch and dunk for Xavier Booker.
Pretty sharp offensively here to start. We've been talking a lot in the early season about UCLA's defense and not looking like a Mick Cronin defense. Although better on Tuesday night, offense looks really sharp here to start.
Already up 9-2 as Wilson thought otherwise on that play by Dent, but Parrish smooth sailing toward the rim.
Again, the activity at UCLA. Presbyterian has scored on 2 broken plays, busted plays. So UCLA being disruptive here early.
Presbyterian fortunate that it's 9-4 right now, put that way. Clark got the jersey untucked right now. It hasn't deterred him. Strong take and the foul. Sky Clark. What a start.
This is by design. It has to be, because we haven't seen Sky Clark with the ball in his hands this much to start a game and the ball in his hands and attacking the paint. This is what Donovan Dent's been doing early in the year. So obviously Mick Cronin and staff saw something in the film. But Sky Clark, just because you design these plays doesn't mean you're going to finish them all the time. Sky Clark, 3 for 3.
He's doing it, and tack on a free throw.
One thing the other night, there was 50 fouls called in that game, 25 for UCLA, 25 for Sacramento State. And one of the things I've talked about a lot is Mick Cronin, how good they've been defensively. And one of the reasons is they guard without fouling. So it was unusual the other night.
Good contest. Speaking of guarding by Sky Clark on that missed three by Pickett.
Now Sky Clark in attack mode right off the bat. We haven't seen a lot of defense to offense, but haven't needed it. Sky Clark and UCLA.
In the Mick Cronin era.
They have the personnel to be really good. I mean, Mick Cronin every year has a very good defensive team, but I feel like this year with the rim protection they have, Booker playing differently than he played at Michigan State, they can be elite defensively, and he's trying to get them there. That's why he did that the other night.
Bailey just hurls that toward the rim. Booker comes down with it, and Williams with another attempt with some free throws. Well, that's saying a lot if you think that they can even level up further defensively, because they've led their conference in scoring defense 4 straight years.
That's just, it is what it is. And Mick Cronin has been known for that. That's why they've won as much as they've won. So don't be surprised. You know, their metrics right now, as it pertains to the other Big Ten teams, smaller sample size, but unusually lower in some of the rankings, defensive rankings.
They got work.
But it ain't gonna be that way for long.
Already a 10-point lead against Presbyterian. Biaquelu to Wilson. Kristen Wilson finds an open shooter. Josh Pickett's had some trouble already from beyond the arc, 0 for 3.
Well, one area, again, talking about UCLA's defense, have not been great on their own defensive board. That's a big area of concern and a priority to clean up as we head towards Big Ten conference games in early December.
What's the roadmap to cleaning that up? What do you think he's trying to get his team to do that'll help them do it better?
It's got to be a priority. You know, this team's very good offensively, and sometimes when you're that good offensively, you think you can just outscore people, which they probably can on a lot of nights. But if they want to win and win big in the Big Ten and in the NCAA tournament, you have to finish defensive possessions on your defensive board.
There's a travel. No rebound needed there after Tristan Wilson turns it over. Even in the big win against Sacramento State, they gave up 13 offensive rebounds, which Coach Cronin was not thrilled with.
Well, you don't look. They were going to beat Sacramento State no matter what. We'll see what happens tonight, but it ain't about now. It's about once you get into Big Ten conference play. And if you don't rebound in the Big Ten, you ain't winning, period.
And of course, they have a couple of Big Ten games in December, but the next 5 opponents are power conference for UCLA, so the schedule gets more difficult in a hurry. Bruins have turned it over in a couple of recent possessions. And it's Iverson King who pops out a baseline jumper.
Well, Presbyterian has really struggled shooting the ball, especially from behind the three-point line. So one area for UCLA, you want to be up and into it, engaged and active, but do you need to close out all the way until Presbyterian can prove that they can knock down some threes?
Starting wing Tristan Wilson has picked up his second for Presbyterian, and off a nice crossover move, Donovan Dent. First attempt of the game, it's a miss.
The thing that jumps off the page about Dent is he plays at his own speed. He's in control of the game. And some nights he's probably going to be relied on to score more. Some nights he isn't. But he always plays at his speed. He doesn't get sped up. He makes good decisions. And guys love playing with him.
What's the thing they love most about playing with him, what do you think?
Because he passes them the ball.
That's usually a good thing, if someone like that is your teammate.
But on time, too. There's a lot of guys that pass the ball, but a lot of point guards look for their own first, and then when they can't get it, that's when they pass. That's not setting guys up. That's just getting rid of it when you can't get your own. Dent is looking to set guys up for easier looks and stuff at the rim.
Presbyterian gets something going offensively. It doesn't look like it so far in this possession. Iverson King, difficult shot. A fight for the loose ball. UCLA gets a nice defensive rebound. It was Trent Perry hitting the deck.
Seems, I know it's only 6.5 minutes in, but it seems like there's more of a willingness to get on the defensive board for UCLA.
Brown airmails the three from the corner.
Not just one guy. It can't be Booker, can't be Williams. It's got to be all five getting back there and crashing.
That was an airmail from Amari Anderson, who has played just 3 minutes a game this season. Presbyterian going deep into the bench already, and Dent draws a foul on Anderson with 12:53 in the first.
Well, Presbyterian's got to understand that Donovan Dent's one of the best guys in the country at getting into the paint. He is. Changes speed and direction, understands angles. And so you don't need to jam him. That's the second time he's gotten a foul called driving. I would play off him, especially when his shooting numbers 1 for 7 from 3 on the season so far for Dent. I'd make him hit a couple first.
This time they double him up top, and Williams gets an easy 2.
Good cut by Williams behind the defense.
Been 4+ minutes, the scoring drought for Presbyterian. And that pass is last touched by UCLA.
Take another look at this, and just a high ball screen. Jamerson turn and face, you got options. Williams sees the defender ball watching, cuts behind him.
8 straight points for UCLA, which is shooting 6 for 8. Presbyterian is 2 for 10.
Good to see Jamerson back out there. Wasn't sure if he was going to play tonight. Got hurt the other night. Glad he's back in there.
Finally something for Presbyterian. It's Iverson King for 3. Jamerson was a game time decision, we were told. Good to see him out there.
What I like about Dent, he doesn't demand to bring it up every time. Is willing to play off of it and get into some of the secondary actions without the ball in his hands.
Out of bounds, it'll stay on that side of the court with a 10-point Bruins lead and exactly 12 minutes.
Because that.
They're not going to get another one there. Instead, it's a bucket for Dent. Bowden to Parrish. And now Jonah Pierce. This is Presbyterian's leading scorer. Able to draw the foul on Eric Daly Jr.
I mean, forget looking at the numbers. We take a look at Dent turning the corner like Sky Clark has a few times already tonight. But you don't even need to look at the numbers. If you've been around here for the last few years watching Mick Cronin's UCLA teams, it looks like it looked Tuesday and how it looks tonight. And I know the numbers, bear that out.
Whoops.
But it's activity, guys hedging hard and getting back, all of that wasn't really happening in the first 2 or 3 games of the year.
A rare free throw wedge, but good response from Pierce to knock in the second.
Presbyterian's picking up the ball handler every time, shaving 6 or 7 seconds off of that shot clock.
Dent takes it all the way through that on-ball pressure.
See, you just get the feeling that he could do that as much as he wants, but he understands for the betterment of the team long term, it ain't about him getting 25 or 30 every night. That's what it was at New Mexico because they needed that. They don't need that here. And the more he gets guys involved and guys moving without it and wanting to play with him, the better UCLA is going to be.
Reach-in foul, though, on Dent. And it's going to be J.D. Bowden to the free throw line.
I said this earlier in the year. He really plays like an NBA guard in terms of his pace, change of speed, his ability to get by the initial defender and then make decisions for himself or others. You know, the question is he going to be an NBA player? I think he will be. I think this is why it's good he's here, because Mick Cronin's going to demand defensively that he improves. He wasn't really asked to do that at New Mexico. And if he proves that he can guard at a high level along with all the stuff he has on the offensive end, got a really good chance.
Now there was actually a second on Eric Daly Jr. and eventually rolled in for Presbyterian as Pickett comes back in for the shooter, Bowden. Put a little more size here on Dent, but still picking him up.
I want to see what happens here. 2 times in a row he scored. Is he going to go back to it?
This time he uses his speed, sets up Jamar Brown.
See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. If he had put that little floater up over the defender, nobody would have said anything, but he saw Brown in the corner, better look, knocks down the 3.
Donovan Dent orchestrating the offense to a 24-10 lead.
And by the way, that pass right on the money. One hand, that lasso pass over the head. Not an easy one to get right on the money, but he did.
A little bit out of rhythm 3 from Iverson King. And a loose ball foul against Peterson, who is Presbyterian, one of their best rebounders. Another good defensive board for UCLA.
The burst by Dent. Watch this. Burst, but still under control enough to find Brown in the corner. A lot of guys turn that corner with that burst. They're out of control, get up in the air, and then have nowhere to go with it. He knew exactly where he was going.
That crisp one-handed pass for the assist. Dent's second assist of the game. He averages 7, which is 4th in the Big Ten at this early stage of the season. He doesn't turn the ball over much, and he actually doesn't there. Good hustle play by the Bruins, and it's Brandon Williams open. Rebound Brown. Stays with the Bruins. Back to Williams. That one is good.
The possession started with the small ball screen, and I like that. They rotate a lot of guys on that high ball screen with Dent or Perry or Clark. Get good action out of that.
Presbyterian has just not had the answers defensively, whatever the action has been so far. Carl Parrish knuckles up that 3, and man, the Bruins on the defensive glass have been outstanding. That time, Jamerson, and it's a 1-and-1 coming.
I can only imagine what practices have been like the last couple weeks when addressing defensive intensity and rebounding your own defensive board. Busted play, but Dent the right decision again there. I'm sure practices have been spirited, if you will, and I'm sure very physical.
Heard them talking about this before our game on the pregame show, Don. What is it like playing for Mick Cronin?
I wouldn't know. I've never played for him.
I know, but you're there. You're at some of the practices. You're an alumni of this program. In your opinion, what's the experience like for the student athlete?
It's attention to detail. It's accountability, and you're going to do things a certain way. And you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it for the betterment of the team. And that's why Mick Cronin's won so much throughout his career, not just here at UCLA.
Over the top, Pierce fits that one up and in.
Jamerson out of position. I think he was trying to three-quarter that. He got up on the high side. Easy catch and finish for Pierce.
Clark continues to score for the Bruins.
Presbyterian got to make an adjustment and have somebody back there rotating over. No one's rotating to the ball handler.
Scott Clark, the result, he's 4 for 4 for 9 points. Great help by Williams. He knocked it out of bounds with 8:29 in the first.
I like that UCLA does that. They change the cadence on when they come. Usually it's on the dribble. When the big gets it, starts his dribble towards the basket, they'll send the second defender. Sometimes they do it on the catch. depends on how dangerous that big is with the ball down there.
Yeah, how do they dictate when they change it then? How do they make that decision?
They change it game to game, typically based on personnel of the other team.
Okay.
Tuesday night, unfortunately, Jeremiah Cherry, really good big for Sacramento State, got hurt early in that game, but they were going to go earlier on him because he was more of a threat.
Wilson, end of the shot clock. He was patient, and he finishes.
Good awareness of the clock, too. Thought the shot clock was going to go off.
Trent Perry starts off this possession with the ball, navigates right toward the rim. That's been a theme for the Bruins. That one just pops out, a rare miss.
Difference is that one wasn't really clean like Clark's and Dent's have been.
It was Xavier Booker with the block, and it's going back to UCLA. Timeout on the floor. How about Donovan Dent so far in this one?
Controls the pace, plays at his own speed, and most of the time makes the right decision. Brown knocks down the three, UCLA up. Well talked about Donovan Dent in the transfer portal and NIL and all that, but he's come in and he's been selfless in trying to fit in with the team and make this team better, not just about himself.
Nick was also saying in a recent press conference that he has more of a ceiling even than we've seen so far because he's been a little bit banged up and had to miss time in practice. As Clark drains another.
How good's he been tonight here in the first 12 and a half minutes?
Just about perfect. Traveling violation on that move by Tristan Wilson.
Good ball movement, good player movement. When that happens, you get that defense shifting and moving. Usually somebody's going to be open. Clark was open, knocked it down.
Bruins have been moving the ball around effectively and for the most part avoiding turnovers. And lead by 19. Dent on the bench, Clark running the show. And there is a rare turnover. 2-on-1, ball fake. Wilson draws the foul on Williams.
I think a little miscommunication there. It got to be late clock, and Booker, there was no spacing. Booker was kind of standing next to Sky Clark. He should have set him a ball screen and then gotten out of there. But he cut to that short roll position at the free throw line. Presbyterian saw it coming.
With Williams picking up the second personal, UCLA puts in Eric Freeney, redshirt freshman from Corona.
I know I said it earlier, but it's worth saying again because it's been the biggest storyline so far for UCLA. I was here for their first two games, and it just, you could tell it wasn't right, and they didn't have the right energy and the right intensity, and now this looks like what it's supposed to look like. And forget the opponent, but Eastern Washington and Pepperdine, you know, they hung with them for most of the game.
Another runway to the rim for Clark, who is 6 for 6 with 14 points. Catch and shoot, Wilson, and Clark the rebound.
Got numbers.
They realize it, I think. Well, the defense trying to settle in a little bit here, but UCLA has been moving the ball, and it's a hammer for Booker.
Again, another unselfish play by Trent Perry. He could have 1-2 bounce dribble, pulled that shot. Nobody would have said anything. Booker cutting down the middle. Better look for the dunk.
Where's the whistle coming here? Is it going to be on Perry? Yes. Let's take a look back.
I thought Perry should have pulled the trigger on that three. He didn't. Went baseline, and Booker right to the front of the rim. Nice play.
Xavier Booker coming in from Michigan State, playing a different role this year. Was mostly in the 4 spot at Michigan State. As that time Perry gets the swipe. Here comes Brown.
It becomes infectious when everybody's engaged and up and into it with the intensity on defense. And that's the one thing we talked a lot about on Tuesday night, was when your defense is getting deflections, getting steals and turnovers, makes your offense that much easier in transition.
Pierce. Great help defense by Perry. Reading that pass. Another impressive thing, Don, is that the guy who Nick Cronin has been saying has bought in the most to the way he wants to play is Eric Daly. He's been on the bench most of the first half with foul trouble. They're doing all this without him. Perry turns that one over.
I know he said he doesn't send messages and doghouses and all that, but I think there was a message received by these players, because the last 2 games they have been much better, especially on the defensive end.
Freeney uses the shot fake and gets the mid-range jumper. Eight straight for the Bruins, and they have created a huge margin in the first. Peterson with the two-handed stuff. Very similar complexion this first half to Sacramento State after they had closer first halves in their first few mid-major games.
I know I said it earlier, but they've held Presbyterian to 18 points with 3.5 to go and only 5 fouls, not even in the bonus yet. Guard without fouling.
Trent Perry, an offensive foul, and that is his second. But UCLA with a 41-18 lead. Defense to offense.
Perry with the steal, Brown out in front. UCLA up big. Misses off of missed threes, but even still, it looks like a team more committed to rebounding their defensive board on Tuesday night, or not as much Tuesday night as tonight.
Well, as our great graphics operator was able to show, Don, tonight they have gotten every defensive rebound. Presbyterian doesn't have a single offensive rebound despite 13 missed shots.
UCLA 16 for 20 from the floor, 80% as a team.
The numbers are in their favor, but it also, as you have said repeatedly, it's more about the look, the intensity that they are playing with as they gobble up another defensive rebound. And Clark off the nice crossover, finally misses a shot. But an offensive rebound for Freeney. Dent loops it toward Jamerson, and the defense down low from Hudson.
So that's the second time a UCLA guard has tried to lob it over the top. One to Booker and then that one to Jamerson. It's always the passer's fault, as they say, but the bigs have to do a better job. If you're gonna throw it over the top, you got to seal that defender on the high side so that he can't get back to deflect it.
Pierce swings it to the corner as falling down was Wilson off the miss. Now a 2-on-1 the other way. Clark repeated fakes. Presbyterian just gets back in time.
2-on-1, you got to finish that.
Jamerson 1-on-2 is rejected by Pierce. And finally the whistle comes in after that massive pile developed. And the held ball is going to keep it on this side of the floor.
Two-on-one, that's either got to go back to Brown or Clark's got to put it up on the glass. Hesitated, had to kick it back out.
Clark began the game 6 of 6. Couple possessions ago, finally missed one. Dent looping around. Can't get that one to go. Pickett takes a look back toward the bench. They're going to use him as their point guard a lot of the time. And at 6'5", 220, with their starter Eric Taylor likely out for the season at point guard. And that was an errant pass and a turnover.
Good defense by Jabbar Brown there, guarding the bigger Pierce. Strong enough to be able to hold him out and create that turnover.
Either team has now scored 2 minutes plus. The big cushion for the Bruins. Freeney, quick drive off the catch. He's held up by Pierce. He finds Clark. Online, but just short, and Peterson gobbles it up. Back the other way, floater, Wilson wouldn't go. And finally, an offensive rebound for Presbyterian. Peterson back at it. Good look. Wilson couldn't finish the first, but it's an and one. So 2 offensive rebounds on the possession after none the entire first half previously.
Here's what UCLA can't do is start playing the score. When you're trying to build your habits and clean up some areas that they're trying to clean up, turnovers, missed shots on one end, and then, like you just said, a couple offensive rebounds when they haven't given up any the entire game.
Coming up on the halftime show, presented by State Farm. Mike Hall, Bruce Weber break down the first half and look ahead to a busy weekend as well around the Big Ten. That 16 for 20 start for UCLA from the field. They are 0 of 4 since. Still a very complete first half of basketball. At least this gives Nick Cronin something to talk about in the locker room as Dent go back to the foul line.
He's so good at that. Turn down that three. But here's what's going to happen. You know, Donovan Dent's going to have to start shooting some of those threes because guys are going to stop closing out on him. It's going to be harder for him to get into the paint where he's so good in there at drawing fouls and finishing plays. Maybe not now. When we get into Big Ten play, Donovan Dent would do himself a favor by letting some of those threes go so that he has either or, the three or can get by that guy closing out.
Looking at his background as he struggles with that foul line trip, he made over 40% last year for New Mexico, but didn't shoot a lot. So it'll be interesting to see what develops there.
Well, I'm not saying he's got to shoot a lot, but when he's open, he has to because you know, a step up in level in the Big Ten, guys are going to be able to stay in front if they don't have to close all the way out.
Too mentioned how they were able to. He's been the guy that's really given them that energy for much of the season, and they were able to perform without him.
He's the one that's been consistently rebounding. That's why he was the only starter, the regular starter that started on Tuesday night.
A big step forward for the team, certainly, it looked like in the first half. But on the first possession of the second half, Daly didn't want to commit any type of foul, and Pierce got an easy bucket.
Daly stayed out of his way, didn't want to pick up that third.
Double figures now, by the way, for Pierce with that bucket, 11 points. Sky Clark, 14 points to lead UCLA in the first half. Donovan Dent also had a strong first, missed the shot. Williams, the putback.
I think Dent's gotten to the point now where he needs to see one or two go through. Because obviously you mentioned earlier, over 40% from three, not high volume, but even still, he was wide open that time.
Reach and foul as Wilson Just trying to work his way in.
Mentioned it in the first half. Don't want to play the score. You're up 19. But again, when you're trying to get yourself to a place where this becomes consistent, the score can't matter. Play the same way whether you're up or down.
Here's the pass, a corner three for Wilson.
You can tell Presbyterian first two possessions tried to establish Pierce here early in the second half.
Daly through contact.
Daly has that ability to get the rebound. He can bring it himself in transition. A big, strong body. Scores at all three levels. UCLA's got a lot of options on the offensive end.
We just had a really Randall. It all starts with countdown to kickoff tomorrow on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app.
So hard. And I remember this as a player when you pick up too early and you sit for a long time to get yourself back into the game. That's why I said it right before we started the second half. Daly misses both free throws. Really hard to get, because you get yourself mentally, physically ready to play. You go out there, you immediately sit. Really hard to get yourself going again.
Working around to Parrish. And a good block out.
Like
once again.
Presbyterian's going to extend their defense too.
Dent going left, extends that basketball, missed the left-handed attempt.
Kept it in one hand, just missed it with the offhand.
Wilson runs ahead of the defense, gets the dunk. Still a 17-point cushion, but Presbyterian a decent start to the second. Dent, there's contact, and there is a finish for Donovan Dent.
I want to take another look at that. You see, this is how savvy Dent is. Watch at the beginning of this. He points left. It was a little before that. He pointed left like he was going to go left, and the defender kind of shifted that way, refused the screen, went back right, and got the and one. See, watch this. We're going to show it after this free throw that this is what guys that have command and can read defenses. See, watch this. See, set it over there. I'm going that way. No, I'm not. I'm going this way.
The subtleties of the game certainly never lost on you. A good call out there.
Well, so much of being good in screen roll with the ball in your hands is being able to read what the defense is doing. And if you can control the defense by getting them shifted or moving, that's when you become elite at screen roll offense.
Almost like how they say the point guard is the quarterback. It almost sounds like a quarterback reading the defense as the steal. Sky Clark, nice little fake, and he's up and in for two.
Got a little greedy there, Sky Clark, with the D-cell, wanted the and one. Brought the defender to him instead of just taking it right to the glass. Didn't get the whistle.
Another turnover. Here comes Brandon Williams. Kicks it to Dent, open three. Hasn't been happening for him beyond the arc.
Got to keep going though. Doesn't matter, you miss, take 5 more. Just keep going until you see a couple go through and you get back on track.
Could be a good opportunity to do that in this game as Parrish turns it over.
See another veteran move by these UCLA guards. Gets the steal, had an easy layup. Watch, he waits for the defender, slow down, tries to get the foul, didn't. Still gets the bucket.
Jamerson comes up to help Clark bring the ball up, and this has been the case all night long for Sky Clark, just blowing by the defense.
Well, there's just nobody back there, and it's happened multiple times. And Clark's read it and has executed it.
Nice look inside, and the 2 for King.
See what Dent does here. They just keep flip-flopping. Him and Clark get to the paint.
Your turn, my turn. This time, it is Daly's turn.
Just move without it, and Donovan Dent's probably going to get it to you.
Four assists for Dent, just 1 turnover. Something he is consistently good at, not just distributing, but avoiding turnovers. Parrish, jump stop, leave it off. Pierce, and Dent the rebound, and they're looking to run. Up to the wing, Daly. Loose ball, Jamerson, and the foul.
Donovan Dent, we've been talking about him all night, how in control he is of this offense. Perfect delivery to Daly. One more time. UCLA rolling here in Pauley tonight. And just how veteran, how experienced he is. Watch this play. He gets the rebound. They don't really have numbers, but a lot of guards will keep this because they want to get the assist. But he's so unselfish that he will throw it ahead. A lot of guys won't because they either want to look for their own or get the assist. So unselfish play, another thing that Donovan Dent does well is he will give it up for the betterment of the team. You know who was great at that here at UCLA, it was only for a year, was Lonzo Ball. Ignited transition by the throw-ahead pass, but was unselfish to do it. Didn't care about getting the assist numbers, even though he got them, but would throw it ahead if he had guys ahead of him.
Well, numbers advantage for a second, it looked like, for Presbyterian, but UCLA gets 5 guys back in the picture, and the cross-court pass turns into a giveaway. That was off the hands of King. Well, Lonzo can stay healthy a little bit, give it a couple more years in the pros.
Good screen by Jamerson.
As Dent finishes.
That was, a lot of this has been Sky Clark and Dent reading it. That time it was Jamerson laying the wood almost at half court.
Wilson missed it short. Jamerson the rebound. Remember, he was a game time decision coming in after recently tweaking his ankle in the Sacramento State game. Looks okay out there. Dent off the around the back dribble. Draws the foul.
Oh. Let's go back to that last screen. This is how you set a screen on a defender for your ball handler. Didn't move, stood it up. Got Dent free all the way to the rim. And that last play by Dent, you know how hard that is to be full speed behind the back and be under control and still able to make the play, draw the foul? When you jump up levels, high school to college, college to the NBA, everyone's a good athlete. So how do you beat that? You beat it with change of speed, change of direction. Your one speed, everyone can sit on it.
Lead is up to 30 after Dent's latest. They say that the defense was playing straight up there, so just a traveling violation on Chiaquelu.
Again, we talked about it in the first half. Post guys getting the ball. Once they start dribbling, that time there was 3 UCLA defenders there.
Sky Clark, nice move.
A nice adjustment at the end. Saw the secondary defender coming over for the first time tonight. Had to put a little more air under that one to get it over the top. Nice play by Clark.
Jamar Brown in the passing lane.
Again, the throw ahead pass leads to Jamerson running.
And back to the defensive recipient of that last possession. Brown in for 2.
That's just really good transition offense right there. Good unselfishness by UCLA. Brown gets the bucket.
And a timeout called by Presbyterian, with number 19 UCLA in firm control. Another fantastic Bruin sequence offensively. Clark adjusting and finishing.
Numbers for Michigan State here early.
Jamar Brown, a couple of steals in recent possessions. Perry, Jamerson, Daly, and it's Brown, the Kansas City transfer, with a miss.
Tell you what, the unselfishness of UCLA is really jumping off the page tonight. Like, Daly had deep post position. If he had scored that or tried to score, nobody would have said a word. Made the extra pass to Brown on the wing.
It's blocked by Pierce on Brown's attempt.
Game's got a little more speed to it here in the second half than it did in the first.
And Peterson picks up an offensive rebound, a rare one for Presbyterian, and a foul is called.
I guess if you're Presbyterian and you get down 20 plus, you probably can't afford to play methodically. You got to get up and down if you're going to make a run and get back in the game.
Which is certainly different from their norm. They're actually, according to Ken Palm, dead last among 365 in the country in tempo. So they got to change that up, as you said, but Pierce able to finish there.
I think UCLA will run on opportunity, but certainly in no hurry, especially on a made basket by Presbyterian.
Again, more ball movement, and it's Perry for 3.
That's the correct read. Get it on the block. Usually that opposite slot is open. Perry knocks it in.
Whirling move, and the finish from Kalon Hudson. Screen set by Booker, floater, Dent.
I said it in the first half. You get the sense that he could do that whenever he wants. But the good news is for Mick Cronin in this team, he doesn't.
Had all the accolades last year at New Mexico. Now having to adjust to new program, different set of circumstances, a new level at UCLA. Hudson's 3 is short. And rebounded by Daly, saved inbounds to Brown.
Well, we were talking about Donovan Dent as a pro.
Oh, it's Daly, look out.
In the future, but guess what really matters when being evaluated for the next level? Winning. Like, they're not looking at how many points you average, how many assists. Like, did you come from a winning program? Did you affect winning, impact winning? And that's the next step for Dent. He's proven he can get numbers. Now can you lead a team deep into the NCAA tournament or potentially win a Big Ten championship?
Brown in the passing lane again. Here comes Jamar Brown stepping through, and the foul is called. UCLA has done a lot of different things to impact winning in this one. And the latest impressive moment, an Eric Daly Jr. flush for the Bruins.
Socks?
I'm not sure. I don't have an answer for you. I guess they're mostly wearing their black uniforms, just a little bit of blue tonight. I do have to point out as well, other fun Presbyterian fact is that they actually are the smallest by enrollment Division I school in the country. Their undergraduate enrollment, Don, is less than 900.
Yeah, right.
So the student athletes alone make up close to 50% of their student body.
UCLA still doing a good job on their defensive board.
Didn't allow an offensive rebound for most of the first half.
Only 3 for the game.
2 of them were on that one possession. Booker, it's in. Xavier Booker for 3, his 4th three-point hit of the season.
And he can do that. And you don't want him out there a ton, but when we get into Big Ten play, there's going to be some matchups where if he can take guys out on the perimeter and some guys that don't want to close out all the way to the three-point line and he can make them, that becomes a big weapon for UCLA.
For the most part today, UCLA has been able just to get by the first level of the defense and the next level and pound the paint. 46 paint points for the Bruins in this one, but Xavier Booker hits, and it's Clark on the drive, and it's out of bounds off of Presbyterian.
Again, there's some guys that'll be in drop coverage and some of this stuff that aren't going to want to come all the way out, and he's proven he can do this. Again, you don't want him out there all night, but against certain teams, you may want him taking a few more as Perry knocks in the runner.
Tristan Wilson collides with Clark, and it's a blocking foul after a little pause there. Eventually, Mason Seiler came in, made the call.
Scott Clark has unbelievable defensive feet. Low center of gravity. So he's able to slide those feet, and we talked on Tuesday night a lot about how you can't screen him. Any ball screen, any down, any screens, he doesn't get screened because his feet are so good defensively.
He showed him there. I don't know what more. I don't know what you thought about that, Don, but it looked like there wasn't much more he could do on that play. Picks up his 3rd, and a 3-point shot for J.D. Bowden.
Good ball movement that time. Got a good clean look on the opposite side.
The give up for Booker, and now it's back to Clark. Another chance at the foul line for Sky Clark. And a timeout with just under 8 minutes left to go.
So there's real opportunities to move up in the rankings if you can win those games. And so some of our Big Ten coaches are really scheduling non-con that's not only challenging their team and making them better, but an opportunity to move up in the rankings. And don't forget, we're getting closer to the net rankings coming out in a few weeks. But UCLA's got that Gonzaga game, which will be a good resume builder if they can get it in mid-December.
And the next 5, as you saw, against power conference teams, a flush for Williams. That game against Cal is in the Chase Center coming up in San Francisco. Why do you think that has changed with some of the scheduling, with teams going more difficult?
Because it's all about the net rankings now. It used to be they'd go on, they didn't have the metrics.
Okay, that makes sense.
Now, it's not all net rankings, but that's seemingly the biggest tool they have. There's so many numbers that go into that net ranking. But
do you, in terms of the committee, do you think that it's better now than it was, or would you rather them use more of the eye test sometimes?
I mean, I think they still use some of the eye tests. It's not all on the net rankings, but I just like the fact that we have better games, more better games in November, December than we used to have.
That is definitely, you can't dispute that. That's a good thing for the sport. As a nice play, seen a couple of those from J.D. Bowden.
Third one tonight. They've tried to lob over the top, turned it over.
Wilson. Bowden picked up the rebound. That is just the 5th of the game for Presbyterian on the offensive glass. Jonah Pierce sees 2 defenders, nearly taken away.
You know the clock.
And Hudson figured it out. Got the turnaround jumper.
Brandon Williams showing some of his versatility here, running this high ball screen.
Got the start once again today in the absence of Tyler Bilodeau. Mentioned off the top, dealing with a left knee sprain. Not quite sure yet on the timetable, but it's not considered major, the injury.
Yeah, it will be determined by how he reacts in getting back to physical activity, practice, workouts. But yeah, it doesn't sound like it's going to be very long. He actually showed me the video before the game of what happened. Thankfully, it wasn't worse, because it was an awkward play, but everything checked out.
Greeny flies by in the fake from Wilson. Peterson shot it without putting it down. Tip-in wouldn't go. And last touch by Eric Freeney, the redshirt freshman.
Well, give Presbyterian credit. They're down quite a bit, but they're still competing, still playing. Sign of good coaching and good culture in your program. These guys will just lay it down at this point.
Traveling violation called on Pierce.
It's always in the back of your mind as a coach. You wonder if Mick's thinking about what happened to Bilodeau. Here you are up 41. Just want to get this one over with. Hopefully nothing happens, obviously.
Well, they got 5 minutes and 10 seconds with the big lead. Freeney. He's held off there, work it back around up top. It's Perry. Second one of those, the first one we saw on a free throw, that one in a live ball sequence. And it's a held ball when that happens.
Just didn't get it up high enough on the glass. Playing through that contact. Numbers aren't great tonight for Perry, but he is definitely improved this year. More confident, you can just tell he's more certain in what he's doing.
That was a confident shot.
Sometimes, you know, you're a McDonald's All-American, you expect immediate success. You come to a place like UCLA, you got good guards in front of you. But he improved last year, and he improved this offseason. Much different player, Trent Perry, this year.
Off the curl, Wilson got Jamerson in the air.
We've seen short stints of it, but because Perry has made a jump and is better this year, you're going to see a lot of three-guard, not a lot, but you'll see some three-guard lineup of Perry, Clark, and Dent based on matchups.
Coming up, the Big Show delivers highlights, post-game interviews, and complete analysis next on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. It's Mike Paul, Bruce Weber, and Brock Vereen waiting patiently. Yeah, I mean, any time, Don, you talk about different lineup options, I mean, the first thing I thought of is it just gives you more flexibility based on whatever the matchup might be in the Big Ten.
Yeah, like they could have started Perry tonight instead of Brandon Williams, and it probably, you know, it would have been a little smaller, but different. Depends on the matchup.
Brandon Williams. Pierce sets it for Bowden. Now Kalon Hudson.
Talked a lot about a lot of things tonight. I think the bottom line is these fans here and people watching on TV, UCLA fans, were expecting this type of score against Eastern Washington and Pepperdine.
Yeah. Peterson goes careening inside, going to the free throw line, but UCLA is meeting expectations in this one. Timeout. 22 points, 9 for 11 for Clark. From the very first couple possessions, Clark is having a night.
In only 24 minutes.
When you're scoring almost a point per minute, that is pretty impressive. Had the offensive rebound for a moment, then it was knocked away, then on the ground, and a jump ball arrow.
They called timeout.
Oh, timeout first. Okay. All right. As you said, Presbyterian still playing. A certain point.
Well, regardless, he has to be pleased with how they played tonight. Without Tyler Bilodeau, your leading scorer.
Yeah. And again, that, you know, even just the first half of energy they had, and they were without Daly for most of the first half because of the foul trouble. Anthony Peoples Jr. is in for UCLA, and Kristen Wilson draws a foul with just under 3 minutes left.
Peoples gives him some frontline depth. Never know what can happen during the course of a season. Guys got to stay ready.
And he's got to prove it, right? If you get this opportunity in the final 3 minutes, come in and show what you can do.
Well, if you think about it, if Bilodeau's out, foul trouble, hopefully somebody else doesn't get hurt, but things happen during the course of a college basketball season.
Especially in the Big Ten Conference. I was talking to the USC folks before the game yesterday, and the thing that they said, what they learned in the first year, last year in the Big Ten, was like, we need size in this conference.
No doubt. And I've referenced it a couple times. All you have to do is look at Michigan this year. Their starting front line. Even though Mara may not start every game, but they have the ability to start him, Merez Johnson, and Lendebourg. And that is a monster front line.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the top of the conference between them and think about, obviously, Purdue. It's important in this league.
Told you he was getting loose.
Student section is excited about it. Seidler, redshirt junior from Marlboro, New Jersey. I mean, you say walk on, and in a sense, the whole dynamic now has changed with the rule changes and the roster limit, and everyone's kind of on even footing, but for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, and he's a big part of what they do in practice. I mean, it's not like he just stands around and then he gets to get in the game when it's a blowout. Like,
right.
Coaches don't just let any old player be what used to be considered a walk-on. You want good players that can add to your practice.
I think like the average fan that has never been close to a program before, they wouldn't understand fully how important, I would say, a few different groups of people are, including walk-ons, team managers, assistant coaches, and all the other personnel, training staff. How important all those people are to how a program functions.
Yeah, do a lot behind the scenes, no doubt.
So it's nice to get a few of those quote-unquote walk-ons in the game at this stage. And
I remember that number 7's dad if you're from the LA area.
Christian Ori is in there. Perry, one of the rotation players, still in with the miss. Got to give someone else a look, Trent, in this situation. Get the ball back here. Presbyterians getting to empty their bench. Luke Allison from Missoula, Montana, getting a look.
That's interesting. Oh, Missoula, Montana to Clinton, South Carolina.
Direct flights at a premium. Seidler going coast to coast, lost the ball.
Looking for the whistle.
A couple more possessions left, potentially. Seidler gets in the stat sheet, a rebound, and draws the foul.
Good for him. Maybe got away with a little push-off there in the back. Doesn't matter, got some free throws out of it.
Well, but when Mick Cronin talks about how much improved the defensive rebounding is, he can even talk about Seidler. Couldn't make the free throw. That 1-and-1. Well, this time it's an O board for Peterson. And a chance at the foul line. The only ranked win in program history for Presbyterian was against Mick Cronin and Cincinnati back in the day. So a little measure of revenge in this one. For Coach Mick Cronin, who had some pointed words about this week about how he wanted to see his players earn the opportunity to play for the UCLA name on the jersey, and how much he values that, respects that, how he left his alma mater to coach this school. And his team has responded over the last couple of games this week. This is Ori. Not quite big shot Christian quite yet.
Well, a good win for UCLA. Probably figured they were going to win, but the way they won this one, I think Mick Cronin will be pleased with.
And right there, that's going to do it. UCLA with its best field goal percentage during the Mick